everybody. Welcome to Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Edmonton, Canada. My name is Bob Babbitt, and we're brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels Go Longer, Quintana, HOKA, One One, Form, Smart Swim Goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Premium Plus Sports, and of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Mr. Kyle Smith, coming off a second place at 70.3 Lanzarote, fifth at Challenge Championship. Weren't happy with the second place. What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, when you think that you're in really good form for a race, and then you're like, okay, and then mistakes or accidents or just that first race of the season, kind of cobwebs, I guess, and I just missed out on the win. But I lost to Leo Berger, who's a classy athlete. He's tearing it up, one of the best ITU athletes in the world. So yeah. If I was going to lose to anyone, it was going to be to him. He's such a good guy. But yeah, I thought I was in better shape. I was in better shape, but yeah. Oh well, that's all right. Live and learn.
That's racing, right?
It's racing, exactly. That's why it's exciting.
Now, does this course suit you?
Yeah, I actually really like Edmonton. This is my fourth time here.
Oh, were you doing some ITU races?
Yeah, so 2014 I won Junior Aquathlon Worlds here. So it's kind of like, I think it's like my first kind of international thing. So I've got like a really, really, it's like a nice place to come to Edmonton.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in terms of the course, three-loop swim, I don't think I've seen that before, then a multiple-loop bike course with some good little punchy hills, and that suits you as well.
Yeah. I guess being a good swimmer, I guess, and especially all the turns and stuff that are in the swim. I haven't swum out there, but I know what the lake's like out there. I know the conditions, and it's actually a pretty challenging swim. It's the only swim I'd describe as technical. Like it's a technical bike course, technical run course.
Because you're getting in and out of the water? Or no?
Yeah, all in and out of the water, which is a challenge. And also just all the buoy turnings. They throw up a whole spanner of works that, when you got to turn around a lot of buoys on the swim, it makes it a little bit more technical.
Right.
And so you've got to be quite good at being able to be uncomfortable, being pushed around, and it gets quite physical in there.
Now, where have you been training to get ready for this?
I've been in between Andorra and Girona, just training alongside Jan in both of those places. So I've been quite lucky to have Jan as a training partner.
Oh my God, how fun is that?
Yeah, it's amazing. Learning from literally the best in the world, or the best in the sport who's done it. So yeah, it's amazing.
What have you learned from him?
A lot of things just the mistakes that he sees me making when he was my age, because in his own words, he didn't win anything until he was 26. And so I've still got a couple of years, to win a few big ones like him. But he made a lot of the same mistakes that he sees me making, just young and ambitious. And
like what type of mistakes?
Just overdoing stuff too much, too often, and overtraining. I think it's the classic. Just kind of, I'm a red rag to a bull when it comes to training, and I just love to put my head down and go for it. And he was actually the guy that gave me the confidence to take the foot off the gas a lot, and actually that saw me making big improvements. And just the longevity of it. Obviously, there's one thing training with someone and you can kind of see what they do for, I guess, 5-6 hours a day training, but then when I was up in Andorra actually living with them, you see how they operate on a day-to-day basis, and it's the professionalism, and you kind of have to own that professionalism to be a professional athlete. So the way he eats, the way he recovers, the way he does everything outside of the swim, bike and run to make sure that he can swim, bike and run the best that he can. And there's no wonder why he's so good at what he does, because of all that stuff. Yeah,
and the thing is, when you're at the level he's at, the expectations are so high, but he expects that and embraces that.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'd break a lot of people, but he really takes it on. And when he's got a big race to prepare for, he's definitely it's just like he's a red rag to a bull. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do in Kona this year. I'm fortunate enough to be there alongside him in the race, and I'm really excited for him to be there. And
you'll be racing Kona.
I'll be there, mate. Yeah. I'll be there.
How fun is that? So there's a couple things that happen. Sometimes when you train with somebody, you can, if they train differently, sometimes that can mess you up a little bit, or you see that, okay, there's a tendency to bury yourself in training, and then you go to a race and you sort of left your race training.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have a feeling that Jan did that a lot back in the day.
Yeah, I think everyone's gone through that, right? It just makes sense. You train harder, you race better, but it doesn't actually quite work like that.
No.
So, Jan definitely taught me those lessons, and
being patient.
Patient, yeah. Just some days you don't need to go hammers.
How ready was he for Challenge Rock?
Well, obviously, he was flying. Yeah, we did a couple. It was kind of like that one bridge too far, that one run session too far kind of thing. And like, because he was so focused on that race and the swim and the bike, he was flying. They're obviously my strengths, and so yeah, I was kind of almost taken aback by how well he was going. Obviously, the run was taking a while for that, and then yeah, we did a run session in the rain, and I think it was just an uneven surface, and I think he just hurt himself a little bit. But I think he's good now. He sounds like he's going well, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back training with him after I get back from Edmonton.
So will you be the build up to Kona?
Yeah, absolutely. Just because, you know, you can train as well as you can alone, and then you get another person just to push you. It's not even it's 0.5% nowadays. Right. 0.5% in an Ironman's the difference between being on winning or the podium. So yeah, hopefully we get the best out of each other in that final block for Kona, and yeah, hopefully we both have a great race.
That's always the hardest thing, is because you sort of need each other. You need to be the best. You are training with the best, so that is going to make you better. At the same time, you can push each other to a point where you can go over that red line, and the next thing you know, you're injured.
Yeah, for sure. And as well, like, apart from all that, like, it's just someone just to talk shit with.
Yes.
Just to shoot the shit when you're out riding, or just do whatever, like, that's how we actually started training together. We just became friends just from, like, he's obviously Australian wife, so he's got an Australian kind of humor, and obviously me with a Kiwi kind of humor. We have good banter back and forth, and that's how we started kind of training together. We started with a run and just laughed for an hour, and then went on the ride, and we just kind of like, we just talk shit for hours on the bike. And I think that's the best part of it, because it's not just about, it's so annoying when someone's just trying to always out edge you, and I'm not like that as a person, so I'm just like there for, I guess, just a bit of company, really.
Right. So when you look at, and I look at 2021, you had you won Tauranga, and you won Challenge Wanaka, and third at Ironman New Zealand with 251 marathon, which is awesome. Talk a little bit about, what do you see as your potential? What are your ultimate goals?
Yeah, if you asked me that 10Ks to go in St. George on the marathon, I probably would have given you a different answer. I was resigning from Ironman. I was going back down to super sprint. I was done. No, I don't know. I think I haven't quite figured out. Like, I've got the swim and the bike. The swim and the bike's okay, but just running the marathon for me at the moment, I haven't quite figured that out yet. And every kind of, obviously, I've literally only run 2 marathons in my life, not even in training. I've done
That's
2
good.
Ironmans. Yeah. So, St. George was a bit of a flop. I went out and I led the race for the first 10K of the run, and then had a spectacular blow up, and kind of hobbled home for 11th. And yeah, I was sort of thinking when I crossed the line, oh, this is actually quite hard. But also there was a few factors after that we kind of figured out. But I'd still definitely think that this distance, the PTO distance, the 100K distance, and the half Ironman distance, and actually the ITU as well, is still in my wheelhouse. I don't know if you're aware of Hayden Wild.
Sure.
Yeah, he's an amazing athlete. He's tearing up ITU at the moment.
He is.
And I did a track session with him on Wednesday last week, and yeah, we were kind of lapping it out together, and he said, mate, you should go back to ITU. And I thought, yeah, it's still the dream. I think every athlete, I got into the sport, as many others did, looking at the Olympics and wanting to go to the Olympics. From Taupo, where I'm from, Bevan Doherty was the current Olympic bronze medalist. So I looked up to him, and then obviously, quite serendipitously, I looked up to Jan being the gold medalist that time as well. So it's quite funny how that's worked out. But so I've still got ambitions to go to the Olympics.
Really?
So, yeah, for sure. Like, Ironman was actually, I say a mistake, but it was just an accident that I fell into it. So Ironman New Zealand, it was in Taupo during the pandemic. I didn't know if we'd race. I didn't know if I was at a fork in the road. I was basically didn't know whether I'd come to Europe or stay back in New Zealand. And I thought every opportunity to race is an opportunity to race. So I'll race Ironman New Zealand, and did the race. And I thought, don't know how this is going to go. I wasn't in spectacular form. I raced 7 times, I think, in the New Zealand summer, and a whole bunch of halves and a whole bunch of exterior stuff, and just trying to make money just to make it to the next race. And I thought, I'm in New Zealand's in my hometown in Taupo, and it's an amazing course, and I always wanted to debut all of my triathlons there. So I've done everything from Olympic sprint.
Your first one of all those has been in Taupo.
So I was like, why don't we complete the set here and do Ironman New Zealand? And then I did Ironman New Zealand, and I crossed the finish line, and I actually really enjoyed it. because of like, you know, the lead mountain biker that was with me was the president of the club when I grew up, and my physio was the second place mountain biker. So as I was rolling back through the field, I just had more and more people to talk to. But I ended up on the podium, and I thought, yeah, that was really fun. I really enjoyed it. You know, people, my friends and family are out on course. The aid station people were my friends, and it was really cool. And across the finish line, I was like, that was fun, but probably not for me. Like at the moment, you know, I still like the half Ironman distance, and I was going really well at those. And then I got an email from Paula saying you've qualified for Kona, and I was like, oh.
Good news, bad news.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm such a big fan of the sport that I know the prestige of Kona. And
have you been there?
No, I've never been. This is the thing. So this was actually 2021.
Yeah.
And so I qualified for Kona. I accepted the spot, and I was like, okay, if I'm going, I'm going to give it a good crack. So then that was what I decided to come to Europe, and obviously the Kona that never was, but was St. George, and then St. George as well. I raced, and I was happy. I'm obviously racing for the win every time I race, but across the finish line, and again I was kind of like, ooh.
Especially that course. That course is brutal.
It was brutal, and then I got the email again. So you qualified for Kona. I'm like,
you're back to
yay.
Kona.
Yay. But yeah, so I guess again, I'm just going to go all in for Kona. It's like I say, it's such a special race in my heart. I'm such a fan of the sport, and so I'll go all in for Kona, and then we'll see what we do after that. But I definitely have ambitions of going back to ITU, and because I think I've still got the speed for it.
Have you done some
ITUs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a number of years.
Yeah, so I've had a bit of up and down ITU, I guess, like many others that are in the long distance game. But I guess with the training, we actually found out, like I've always thought that my physiology was more suited for Ironman, but you know, training with Jan, and obviously everyone knows Jan's pedigree, sort of alluded to, he's like, well, you've actually got a really good engine for ITU, but you need to train it more.
Yep.
You know, I wasn't actually training in that way for ITU, because obviously I was training for these things. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I'm absolutely respectful for everyone that's in the sport, but you know, in the ITU, so hopefully we'll be able to make my way in that realm as well.
Well, we were talking to Christian and Gustav today, and both of them are going back to ITU. They're going to the Olympics.
Yeah. They're exceptional, and I think they're doing Bermuda like the week after 70.3 World. It's going to be a hell of a month. I don't know if I'll do the same. I might just wait out a little bit and maybe do it next year, but we'll see.
Yeah, you guys start getting some points.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's all about points. It's all about putting your hand up and showing everyone, and especially now, like with the super sprint distance, the relay being added, and that's like, it's completely different ends of the spectrum to Ironman. So we'll see how that goes, and as well, like if I don't make it, there's the beautiful thing about triathlon racing is that there's so many avenues we can go down, and I've kind of dabbled in all of them. I've done exterior, I've done ITU, and I've done the long distance game, and so it's kind of like this cool avenues you can go down, and it's pretty exciting.
Good for you, man. Hey, good luck on Sunday.
Thank you. Oh, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Kyle Smith has been our guest, everybody. Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt. Hold on. We'll be right back.
Breakfast at 3 in the afternoon.
Exactly. Past breakfast, past brunch.
Yeah, exactly.